Calling to order the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting for Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. It is at approximately 7:10 p.m. If we'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor Grieslock,
Here.
Mr. Izzy,
Here.
Mr. Poach.
Here.
Mr. Stevenson,
Here.
Mr. Wolfram.
Here.
Mr. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Biondo,
Here.
Mr. Little,
Here.
Mr. Ratcher,
Here.
Ms. Rock,
Here.
Mr. Hugus,
Here.
Mr. Sedlak,
Here.
Mr. Weldon.
Here.
Good evening. I'm going to open up the public comment period on proposed agenda items. Now would be your chance to ask, to make comment on anything that's on the agenda this evening. We always ask for you to keep your comments to 5 minutes. And there is also another comment period at the end of the meeting for any municipal item. But this period is just for agenda items only.
Georgiana Woodhull. I seem to have lost my train of thought. I'm going to pass this information out to you. This is a schedule of approval process for the draft of the zoning ordinance that was completed in 2015. I know previously I read it into the record, but I just want to give you a copy of it because I left here on Tuesday with the feeling
I'll take
that
this.
I left here on Tuesday with the feeling that there was a little bit of a misunderstanding that this zoning ordinance was not completed in 2015. It was completed, and that's a list of the dates that it was to go to council, to go to the county, to go to the public. I know that it's been 7 years, and Mr. Wilden had gone through the ordinance and mentioned he had about 100 questions flagged that he needed answered. There's so much talent here in Monroeville, just among council alone, with Mr. Wilden, with the planning commission members, that I would ask you once again not to pass this $27,000 over to an agency to go through this zoning ordinance that was completed. I mean, this to me and to other people, what I've talked about, it is a waste of money. Mayor, you mentioned national trends. What are you referring to? I'm just trying to understand why we're doing this when you say national trends.
This is your comment period.
Okay. Well, I would just ask you, again, not to pass this on. I believe it's a waste of money. And also, like, I don't care what's going on in Seattle, in Chicago, what they're doing out there. I care what our community plan is, and to be done by the members of our community. If you want to look at success, just look to our neighbors in Cranberry. Look to the Ross Park area. Look in Penn Township. You don't have to go very far. We can stay local, and it is our plan for our community. And also go to the Home Rule Charter, and it is the Planning Commission that is responsible for this comprehensive plan. And I would ask you, again, to work with the Planning Commission. I believe that Mr. Wilden can have all his questions answered just by the talent here in our community. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address council on agenda items? We're going to close that comment period, and we have.
Is this the time for comments, or?
This is time for comment if it's an item that's on the agenda for
No.
this evening.
Sorry.
No problem. So we're going to close the comment period, and we have an executive session announcement. The council conducted an executive session before tonight's council meeting from 6:15 to approximately 7 PM for personnel and litigation reasons. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's April 12th council meeting.
I'm sorry, in terms of, what is she talking about? I have everything listed.
Our comment period is over right now, so we'll conduct the rest of the
Sorry.
meeting, and then there will be another
sorry.
comment period for
I was just
residents.
curious on what she's talking about.
If you want to speak with her outside of the chambers, you could.
Thank you.
Council, we have our minutes to approve. In front of you for this evening is the budget meeting of October 28th, 2021, the budget meeting of November 4th, 2021, the Citizens Night meeting of March 3rd, 2022, the council agenda-setting meeting of March 3rd, 2022, and the regular council meeting of March 8th, 2022. Now, these minutes, they are split up. Some of them are from the previous year. So procedurally, Mr. Ratcher, if you could help me out with, since some of them are from the previous council, as far as approving them, it has to be done by the members that were here.
The members that were present, correct, and that may not be what would normally be a majority, but we face that every year when we have a new council. Every other year, when we have a new council, if in fact we do. So anybody who was here and would vote to approve them, whatever number of people that involves, an affirmative vote from a majority of them would constitute approval.
Okay, so I'll be looking at Mr. Poach, Mr. Wolfram, and Mr. Williams, actually, for this section. We're looking for a motion to...
Motion to approve the budget meetings October
Second.
28th and November the 4th.
We have a motion and a second, a motion by Mr. Poach, a second by Mr. Wolfram. Now, so Mr. Ratcher, is the roll to be taken just for those three individuals?
Well, you should take the roll and let the other people abstain on the record.
Very good. Council members, you understand what we're doing here? So, Sharon, roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy,
Abstain.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson,
Abstain.
Mr. Wolfram,
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Abstain.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Mr. Biondo.
Abstain.
The ayes have it.
Very good.
We actually got that right. Now, we have three more sections here. This is for everybody, fair game. So we have the Citizens Night meeting of March 3rd, 2022, the council agenda-setting meeting of March 3rd, 2022, and the regular council meeting of March 8th, 2022.
Motion to approve. Go ahead, Bob.
Make a motion to approve
Second.
as written.
We have a motion second to approve. Any questions or comments or additions to those minutes? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo,
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Reports of our tax collections. I'm seeking a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram.
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Biondo.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Council, list of bills and budget transfers. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo,
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And the payroll report. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Questions or comments, council? Seeing none, there is a motion to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson,
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram.
Aye.
Mr. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Biondo.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Council, we're looking at our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities. Mr. Biondo, I'll start with you this evening. Do you have anything for this evening?
Sure, I will nominate Michael Crane for the library board.
So that just is a nomination. There is no second necessary. Anything else this evening?
That's all.
Mr. Williams?
I'd like to nominate Leonard Bertoni for the Planning Commission.
That's a nomination. Very good. Anything else, Mr. Williams?
Nothing else.
Mr. Adams?
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Wolfram?
Nothing there.
Mr. Stevenson?
I would like to make a motion to appoint John Washington to Human Needs and Resource Advisory Board.
He was
Yes.
nominated,
He has-
correct?
He
He was
was
not.
at the last meeting, yes.
He was not nominated.
He was?
He was not nominated.
Wait,
There's no date of
I
nomination.
believe he did nominate.
I
Sure.
thought you
I
did
nominated
too.
him at our last regular meeting.
Okay.
No, it's not reflected in the agenda.
It is not. But it was done.
All right.
Sharon?
I don't know, I don't.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't know unless I looked at them.
I would suggest, okay, that if you want to appoint him, and then we'll look through the minutes and then, and find out, I'll take you, if you remember, I would think he's appointed, and that's just an oversight, the date not being on there.
I believe it is an oversight. I do recall doing the nomination, so I would like to have a motion to appoint him to the Human Needs Resource Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion is second to appoint. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? He is appointed. Anything else, Mr. Stevenson?
No.
Mr. Poach?
Nothing at this time, sir.
Mr. Hizzy?
Nothing.
Thank you. Council, bids and proposals, 2022 commodity bids. This was discussed at length at our last Tuesday agenda-setting meeting. Mr. Little, any further
Just
comments?
just for the record will show at the agenda-setting meeting, went through all of the bidders who bid on each individual commodity, and those who are the lowest are highlighted within council's packet, obviously, which is a public record, and if anybody would like to look at it, they can. And it's up to council if they want to vote for it all in one motion, or if they have any issues with any individual bidder.
I'd like to make a motion, we vote one time for everything, on the
I'll
lowest bidder.
second the motion to accept the bids in total.
To
including
approve, Joe?
Yes, to approve.
Yep, a motion and a second to approve the entire
Commodity list.
commodity list for
Yes.
2022. Any other questions or comments, council? Seeing none, there's a motion, a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our new business, 18-3-ST Joseph M. Knapp. Mr. Little.
Yeah, this is an applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct 5,606 square feet of warehouse building and associated site amenities. Property is known as Lot 1 in the Moya Industrial Park and identified as parcel 741D42H in the M1 Planning Industrial Zoning District. The applicant is requesting reapproval of this site plan. Council approved this site plan on November 13th, 2018, and reapproved it on December 10th, 2019, and they have submitted a letter for reapproval. And the applicant was here at the agenda-setting meeting last Tuesday.
Council, is there a motion on this
So
item?
moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve.
This is your guy, yeah.
Any questions or comments?
This is yours.
No, we covered it.
Seeing none, motion is second to approve this item. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Council, moving over to our motions. We have 5 this evening. Mr. Little.
Yeah, the first one is a motion to award the zoning ordinance review request for proposal RFP agreement to Strategic Solutions LLC with Gateway Engineers for a total project sum of $27,584. Council tabled this motion at their March 8th, 2022 regular meeting. So a motion, if council,
Take it off the
to take any
Take it off the
action on it,
table.
would have to make a motion to untable.
Make a motion to untable.
Second?
Motion is second to untable. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Now, I'd be seeking any other motion on this item.
Motion to accept the award.
Second.
The motion is second to approve or accept, and I'll open up the floor if anyone has any questions or comments, council. Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve this item.
I'll make a comment briefly. I do believe that the Planning Commission will be involved in the process, correct?
They absolutely will. Yeah, there'll be, the planning commission, the residents will have time to comment on this as well. It'll come in front of council, it'll come in front of our staff. So everyone will be able to have their
Connie?
eyes on this. And,
Also to Connie and everybody?
yes, absolutely.
I mean, when they're done, it's not gonna be passed until council approves it, and the public and, like you said, everybody else sees.
It'll have to go through the planning, it'll have to go through, staff will look at, it'll probably be, the order will probably be staff, I mean, Mr. Little's office, planning commission, which will be publicly reviewed. There'll be comment periods throughout the planning commission process for residents. Planning commission will go through it, and then it'll come back in front of council, once again, with public comment, in addition to that as well.
And there will be public meetings for public comment, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
That's the law.
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely. Any other questions or comments, council? So there's a motion, a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
No.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Little.
A motion to install a streetlight on utility pole number 1498S located at 111 Rosso Drive.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, a second to approve. Questions or comments?
Picture.
It's a dark spot, and that's the only pole, correct?
That's it.
It is.
No other comments? Seeing none, roll call, please. To
Mr.
approve.
Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Little.
Okay, a motion to authorize to advertise for public hearing for the 5-year capital improvement program. For council's benefit, what I'm looking tentatively is either sometime in May 12th, or May 19th, but I want to leave that open. Darryl, my secretary, will send you an email, and then once we know what date everybody is available, then we can advertise for that date most likely in May.
Motion to authorize that advertisement.
Second.
Motion and a second to authorize the advertisement. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, a motion to approve property disposition for Tricog Land Bank for properties located at 451 Blackberry Drive and 252 Azalea Drive. I had this under my report last, at the meeting on Tuesday, and I noticed on their, if you'll notice too, they said a date Municipality of Monroeville Council approved. And usually you get from the land bank, not necessarily properties that they're gonna be on a disposition, but usually that line is not on there. So I thought of putting it on there as a motion, so you did approve it, so I can put the date on there as April the 12th.
Jen?
Very good. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Motion.
Yeah, whatever.
I thought Dennis and Bob, they're Dennis and Bob's board, that's all.
I'm not
So
sure.
we have a motion. Is there a second?
I don't know
Yes,
who made
second.
it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Dennis.
Dennis
Thank
and
you.
Bob, yeah.
And a second by Mr.
Thank you.
Stevenson. Very good. Any questions or comments,
I
council?
do have a comment.
Mr. Williams.
This Cog Land Bank is a great benefit to Monroeville. It takes old dilapidated houses and refurb them and get them back on the tax rolls. So it's a good thing. It improves the neighborhoods without dilapidated buildings, and it's just a good thing that this group does. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Williams. Any other questions or comments? There is a motion, a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Last motion, Mr. Little.
Okay, this is a motion to accept the Certified Civil Service Commission list of officer candidates to begin the process of hiring police officers. And council, you have the list in your packet.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, a second to approve. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our resolutions, there are 5 this evening. Mr. Little.
Yeah, the first one is a resolution authorizing the advertising for bids for the 2022 road resurfacing program from the attached list of roadways throughout Monroeville. And we had a discussion on this, whether we wanted to have it 2 million or approximately 1.5 million. What is council's pleasure?
I make a motion that we authorize
The list.
1944755.90 to do the whole list instead of doing 2/3 of the list.
Second.
Motion is second to approve that motion. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question, Mr. Hugus. Is this going to be significant?
When we developed the program, it was based off the 2 million. The list that you have, which is the 1.944, does not include the in-house cost that we have that do the road preparation. So the 2 million is actually what the dollar amount is we need to do the program.
2 million.
You want to alter your vote?
I'll alter my motion to make it 2 million instead of the 1.9 something.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Is anyone Jewish on this board?
There's a motion and a second to approve that. Anything else you want to add to that, Mr. Hugus? Now's your
sir.
chance. No?
I'm gonna add some. Hold on now.
The prep stuff is budgeted in other line items.
No, it is not.
It's not.
The prep work is built into the budget, always has been. So when we buy product, and we go out and we have to prep the roads for the chip seal program, we mill out the roads. The asphalt product that we buy is from the capital improvements.
So the 2 million covers it, yes?
Yes. In addition to that, the paving machine that we rent to do the park paths is built into there, and also the product to do the park paths. That's all part of the program.
Okay.
Now, is it going to cover the cost increase?
I hope so.
Okay.
We'll have to deal with that.
We're not gonna know that till we open the bids.
Right.
But that's all based on the asphalt index, and we really won't know that yet.
Okay.
Motion and a second.
Council, any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second to approve this item.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item.
Okay, a resolution confirming that the Municipality of Monroeville has formally requested Act 152 funds and has designated an official to perform the required duties between the Municipality of Monroeville and Allegheny County Economic Development, and assures the provision of local matching funds in compliance with all other provisions of Act 152.
Hey, Tim, explain to the public what Act 152 is.
Yeah, Act 152, and I believe at the meeting last Tuesday, I mentioned that that was the Community Development Block Grant, and I don't believe it is. I mean, this is through the county.
It is through the county.
It is through the county, and because I saw the county, because the money comes through the county on a Community Development Block Grant, but it's not. This is a separate program, okay, on Act 152, that we have to provide matching funds for it, and it's through the Allegheny County Economic Development. And this motion right here is that you have to have a designated person that is the point person on that, and you have to have a resolution to that, and that, I believe, is in your packet here.
It's a twofold. We have 2 resolutions. One is the application itself, which is associated with the properties involved. And
Right.
this application does not have any matching funds. It's a $250,000 application.
Right.
Council, is there a motion on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Any other questions or comments or discussion on this here? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little.
Okay, yeah, the next one is a resolution that the Municipality of Monroeville determines and declares that The indicated structures meet blighted property definition under Act 152 and will undergo local agency condemnation proceedings.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
And that motion is to?
Approve.
Very good. Motion is second to approve. Any questions or comments?
I got a comment on this.
Mr. Williams?
On this sewage planning now, the municipal authority is in charge of the sewage, but I understand that Monroeville is in charge of seeing that the project's done right.
I think you're skipping ahead one there, Bob.
Oh, that's a,
Yeah, we're not on
Okay.
that one yet.
all right,
I'll come back to you on that one. Any questions about item number 3?
it is.
Seeing none, we do have a motion, a second to approve this item. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little?
Okay, a resolution, this is the next one, Mr. Williams, a resolution adopting the Clover Senior Housing Apartment Sewage Planning Module.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Mr. Williams, comment.
Yeah, my comment is that sewage is taken care of by the municipal authority, and I understand that this is overseen by Monroeville, that it's done right, and once it's done, then we'll turn it over to the municipal authority. Is that correct?
Well, the municipal authority from the very beginning will be,
Involved?
they'll own the lines. So the issue is that the DEP process ultimately holds the municipality responsible for what happens with sewage in a particular municipality. In this case, it's been delegated to the municipal authority. But there is still responsibility on the part of the municipality with respect to approving the sewage planning modules and so forth. So we're a player in the game, so to speak, and remain so.
Thank you.
And we're here to make sure that they meet all these state requirements.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Hall testified on I guess he testified, last meeting that they do.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments, council? We do have a motion, a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little, last item.
Last one is a resolution exonerating the real estate tax collector from collection of the uncollected taxes of 2021. And we talked about this last Tuesday at the agenda setting meeting, and the uncollected taxes are $175,271.37, which is a small amount compared to $9 million we usually take in for real estate taxes.
Is there a motion, council?
I make a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We do have a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
No.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to ordinances, we have one this evening. Mr. Ratcher.
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending ordinance number 2689 to revise the pollution control and flood reduction credit manual rules and regulations. This is a matter that we discussed on Thursday night. It's on the table. My recommendation is council take it off the table and actually take it off the agenda until further notice.
Make a motion to untable.
Second?
Motion is second to untable. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
And is there a motion to remove this item from
Motion
the,
to remove
from the,
from the
agenda.
agenda items.
Second.
motion is second to remove this item from the agenda? Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our reports of municipal staff. Mr. Ratcher, do you have anything this evening?
No report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Little.
Yeah, just 3 items, just that we still only have 6 applicants for our summer employees, and we encourage anybody at this point who's a person in college or going to college that they apply. Item number 2 is Household Hazardous Waste Electronic Collection Event is April the 16th, which is this Saturday, at the Public Works Building. And the annual Jack Sedlak Memorial Cleanup Day is Saturday, April 30th at 9 a.m. And you can register for that. And number 2, the Household Hazardous Waste on our website. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Little.
And can we, on that summer help, can we hire kids going to trade schools also?
Well, I would think you could, yeah, because the only issue when you hire people that are not going to school is an unemployment issue. And I don't see that as, if somebody's in school and they're in school full-time, then they're considered seasonal employees.
Do we need a letter of intent if we're going to trade school then?
Yeah, we needed some kind of, the verification that they're in some kind of trade school or they're enrolled.
Well, my thought is that there's a lot of work that needs done in Monroeville. We need sandblasting, painting, we need sidewalk work, and I'm sure Paul could use all the help that we could give them with summer help. I know under 18 they can't use equipment, but they can do a lot of manpower, is that correct?
They can cut grass.
They can cut grass? Okay. So,
Needs done.
so I would make a motion that we include employees going to trade schools with a letter of intent.
So would this also be just high school graduates?
Well, I would think high school graduates with a letter of intent, acceptance at a college, yeah.
Or even looking at 18-year-olds that maybe still, that are in high school or going to be a
Well,
senior in high school?
Seniors, I would say,
Other issues, just trying to figure out what the issues are, what we can and cannot do as far as, we talk about it being seasonal. I know you want someone that's going to school because you're trying to somewhat avoid the unemployment aspect.
Correct.
But what stops someone from, a kid that goes to college, comes home for the summer and works, and then they decide not to go back in the fall?
well, we can't
Yeah, we
control
can't control that.
everything that happens.
But I mean, what I'm getting at though is, can we open it up even further for more applicants?
Well,
Do these kids have to be going to college or?
I would say high school seniors.
Yeah, I mean, we hired high school seniors in the past if they were going to school. The only issue is, I mean, you can hire anybody, and if it's seasonal, you lay them off, then you get, you're gonna have to pay unemployment.
How much is that?
Well, we self-insure,
We self-insured,
yeah.
all right?
And we
So
still have,
whatever it is, we pay all of it.
yeah,
So simple, and we pay it all, sure. This
Right.
problem is so simple.
Now, Mr. Hugus, so as far as the type of work, I know they go to other buildings as well, Mr. Little,
Yeah.
but I know a lot go to the Public Works. Is there like an age, like a minimum that you would have, that there'd be an issue with as far as 17-year-olds?
Most of them are distributed around to grass cutting. Some go to the community park state, some stay within Public Works. We move them around where they're needed. They shovel asphalt, cut grass, paint, whatever is needed.
I don't believe a motion is required. I think the applicants, when they submit their information, whoever looks at that can look at it and make the proper decisions. A motion isn't needed here.
Just direct Mr. Sedlak to also include the folks that we talked about with trade school. Same process we have, we've just never said the word trade school. It covers the letter of intent, covers the ideas of moving forward for seasonal employees, so we don't get stuck with the unemployment piece of it too. So that should probably be sufficient to.
Yeah, but I mean,
just
also,
expand
what I
that.
maybe nail down is an age. Are we looking for 18 and up, 17 and up? Does it matter? What does
Well,
council
the
think?
same policy we've had, I guess, that we've had in the past, because there are college kids that will turn 18 just prior to that have graduated from high school. So that's fit. So we'll just slightly expand our current policy and include the trade school folks.
I would say 17 and a senior.
Sure, I
going
mean,
into
that
the
fits,
senior-
that
Yeah,
fits,
going
too,
into
Bob, yeah,
senior
yeah,
year.
Bob, that fits, yeah,
Yeah.
too. We just to expand that so that the same thing, that seasoned employees, 10 for further on, and make it easy for them. And if that doesn't work, Joe, keep coming back, we'll work, we may not be done discussing
Yeah, I guess
this.
we just have to try to get the word out that,
Yeah.
the municipality's hiring,
Right.
young
Let's
adults and,
try this part first to expand it, and then keep coming back to us if there's more of a problem.
It's a policy for council. If you decide that you want to lower the age, then that's okay. We'll put it on a list that we give to you that shows
Sure.
their age and you guys decide what you want to do.
Yeah, let's just get folks going, because it's harder. In the last 4 years, this is the first time we've never not had at least,
20%.
18
Yeah.
people total, where we've talked about the folks be able to come and work, and this is really small number. First time in 4 years that I can recall, at least.
We used to have 20, 30, Mike, back.
Sure.
Again, now
As
we,
many as there, yeah.
sign of the times. Everybody's looking for people.
All right.
Yeah, now the other thing is, we're gonna pay them $14 an hour,
Right.
Yes.
and if they go to Target, how much they make an hour?
Sometimes 15.
15.
Let it be free.
So, but we'll see how they work with it, too. And if it turns into a problem, keep coming back, Joe, and then we'll
Right.
keep taking them
Yeah.
next fall, too. So I agree.
So I think we have
Bob,
some,
don't
I
probably-
think we have some direction, we can even modify
Yeah,
that.
we can, yeah.
We'll let Mr. Sedlak.
Very good. Mr. Hugus, do you have anything this evening?
No, sir.
Ms. Rock, do you have anything this evening?
I do not.
Thank you. We're going to open up another comment period. This is for any municipal item. For residents to make public comment, we do ask that you keep your comments to a 5-minute time limit. And if there's anyone that's here that would like to address council on any municipal item, welcome. So if you haven't signed in, could you? And then after you're signed in, if you could just state your name for the record.
Hi, my name's Diane Etchegary. I live on Evergreen Drive, and I haven't been up here since before the COVID, so greetings to newly appointed people up here. I am one of your people. Hadn't seen you before. Mr. Wilson was always my go-to man, so I guess I'll be able to find you now, too. Thank you. I was here when the apartments were being approved for on Evergreen. That turned out very well, thank you. I'd just like to let everybody know that I was spoiled because when we moved there was a cornfield. It went from a cornfield to a scrubby wooded area to a woods. And I know the people that have the property, they could do whatever they wanted to with that place. So I figured that the apartments were the lesser of any evil that we could find. And it's proved to be true. But one of my concerns was for taking down all of the trees and everything. Where was everything going to go that was in there? Especially didn't think about this before, turtles, snakes, those things, they all went. Well, anyway, they did make it look pretty. They put some trees, but they put poplar trees in. Poplar trees haven't been in vogue since the 40s and the 50s. They're softwood trees. They do not really provide anything for the environment, for the animals that live in the area or anything. So I was wondering if there's anything, this might even be Planning Commission, I'm not sure, if there's anything stated that specifies what should be put in, what should be protected, what should be replaced, that sort of thing. Because I really thought they would replace some of it with the natural things. There were oak trees there, maple trees, black cherry, wild cherry, grapevines, all of these things that are all of a sudden gone. And I was just wondering if that's in there anywhere to be covered in any of our regulations. With all of this, the development that's going on, it's wonderful for Monroeville, for the revenue and everything. But they go in there like the orcs did in the trilogy, exactly. And they just get these big machines and that's, the trees just go away. And it's just scorched earth, more or less. Everything's wiped out. Nothing, no considerations are left to leave anything. I can see, okay, if it's a big imposition, that has to go. But along the edges of things, like next to the airport, are they going to build houses up at the airport now? That's what was on last month's, I guess, Citizens Night, whatever. But I was just wondering if there's any provisions that placed anywhere concerning these issues. Wetlands also, along Duff Road. There's been signs there for years for sale. there's a creek that runs down through there. What are they going to do? Enclose that, fill it in? I don't know. That would be a loss, another loss of a creek in our area. And I had expressed my thoughts about the new, up there where Penman Road used to be. When I was a kid, my Aunt Katie had a house behind Ralph's Army Surplus. That's where she lived. I could lay on my bed when I stayed over there and watch Roche Brothers come in and dump slag down that hill where they put all of that fill in there. And I was thinking to myself, wow, what's going to happen? That whole field's going to go away. Well, now there's a mountain-high wall there. And I'm just wondering, if the school bus can go into Smashburger, what's going to happen with that? You know, there is a fence there, but I don't know. That's really what I have to say. Anybody have any answers for my questions, or where I should look for it, or what council I should come and present my?
Well, this is the comment period, and then after we finish the comment period, we can maybe get some answers for you this
Okay,
evening.
I tried to come last Wednesday, but you guys weren't here, so I called on Wednesday morning to make sure what time it was last Wednesday, and they said, well, I could come tonight, so I didn't know if this was appropriate or not, but I'm here.
Very good.
And I just wanted to
It's
say my
okay
2
with
cents
council
worth.
if.
Thank you very
Ma'am,
much.
it's okay with council if you want to submit your questions to me and you put your phone number on there, I'll give you a call.
Oh, well, these are my own little outline that you didn't.
Well, you
wouldn't have a
can,
clue.
my number's on the website, you can call me
Okay.
and I can answer your
All right,
questions.
okay. Mr. William was my go-to person for the apartment
We'll talk.
buildings and
And
everything.
Mr.
so-
Wildenen, both of it, we can talk to you to get your
Yeah,
questions
they
answered.
did. No, I let him alone now. He's. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll leave the floor open if anyone would like to address council on any
Absolutely.
municipal
My name
item.
is Andrew Richard Bender of 733 Cottonwood Drive.
Andrew, could you sign in, please, for
I
me?
sure will. This is my first council meeting.
Welcome.
I really appreciate you guys being here. So I'd like to start this with a song. Is that okay?
This is your public comment period, so.
It's called
you have 5
On
minutes.
Till's Hopso. I'm a Reformed Presbyterian. On till hopso, a little grain like Lebanon, our fruit shall stand like grass. Forevermore she shall like grass, for and extend she shall like grass, for and extend. And that's what I feel about Monroeville. I've returned back to Monroeville after I've been born and raised here. I'm 41 years old. My mother is an ailing mother. Before COVID, I've returned back home. I have pictures upon pictures of my backyard as a little boy. I used to play. I used to climb up and down the hills. I used to be a real kid, not online, not on the phone, not on the computer, not doing this, hungry for food, playing, and my yards are deforested by Duquesne Light running lights through Murraysville. It goes from Murraysville through Garden City with 5G networks they are shredding our forests, just like she said. They are destroying my forest that I have been born and raised in. And it's Duquesne Light going from Murraysville through Garden City into the city. Okay? Garden City, if you are not familiar with, is a park. It is not it's not a state park. It's not they're not parks, but it is a park, in fact. And so what my research is going to do is to try to find a liberal something to protect the rights of Garden City. That is my agenda. And so I need it to be properly researched on why is a little boy, it is being destructed over cell phone towers of 5G, of Duquesne Light running through. And I'm sorry my voice is upset, but I will protect the park that I have been born and raised in. I implore every one of you to take this action seriously. Also, I'm the coolest dude you'll probably ever meet in your entire life. I have hypertension. I get a little passionate. I'm a hairdresser. But what I'm saying is that I'm so disappointed in what Monroeville has become. It's a good cry, not a bad. Because I am here now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I will leave the floor open for any public comment on any municipal item. You've already signed in once, the first time.
Yeah.
That's okay.
At Tuesday's meeting, Citizens Night, I had asked Mayor if you would set up a town hall meeting with Sunoco. Were you able to get in touch with them and pick a date for the meeting?
No.
No.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Do you plan on it?
Sorry.
Do you still plan on setting up a meeting?
This is your comment period.
Okay, well, you made a promise,
I had to make a promise. I said I'd be happy to invite them to one of our
Okay.
public meetings. I did say that.
and, well, I kind of made a promise that I
Dun,
would.
dun, 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 dun.
Are you
That
paying?
calls people to prayer. That's what that means.
Thank you. If you,
Instead of all
Andrew,
of the terribleness in the world.
if you could let the
police
comment
handle
period,
that?
please.
Yeah.
No, could you just let Ms. Woodall
I'm sorry.
have her comment
That's
period?
right, let me get back to my train of thought. I actually kept my promise, and that was that I would inform all individuals that I could, as many as possible, about the gas line, the Sunoco line that's going to be 87 years old. So I started today, going to my neighbor towards the Trafford side. And he gave me some interesting information. He said that just a few years ago, he went out to his mailbox, and right where the marker is for Sunoco, that there was a black substance bubbling up. And he called the toll-free number on the marker, and a gentleman from Sunoco came, and he had told him that it was something, he said it looked like tar, but it was something that had to do with the pipeline, protecting the pipeline. And I asked him, did they leave you any information, what did they actually do? And he had no knowledge of that. And he's a very intelligent man, and I knew at that point that, once again, as far as educating the public, it did not happen. So I'm just going to read for you once again from the October 14th, 1989. The Mr. Markosik, and that's Joe Markosik, referred to the federal regulations and was concerned with Section 195-440 regarding public education, which requires the pipeline company owner to have continuing education on an ongoing basis. He indicated that that has not been done in this case. It wasn't done in 1989. It certainly wasn't done now with this cathodic protection that they put in Alpine Park, and it wasn't done when my neighbor had that incident. I think he should have got information, and me living that close to him, and having all the hundreds of feet of gas line on the property, I should have also gotten information, just on that incident alone. Also, I have a copy of your cathodic protection easement, and this is on parcel 1245A00274-000000. And on the first line, it states, in consideration in the sum of $5,000 and other valuable consideration, receipt of which is hereby acknowledged the undersigned Municipality of Monroeville by Timothy J. Little, Municipal Manager, hereinafter called grantor, hereby grants unto Sunoco, a Texas limited partnership, its subsidiaries, successors, and assignees herein called grantee, a permanent right-of-way easement measuring 570 feet by 25 feet. The other valuable considerations, what exactly does that mean? And is that something that you've already received in addition to the 5,000, or is that something that Monroeville Municipality is going to be getting in the future? Are we just not answering questions tonight?
This is public comment period.
Okay.
And we can, I mean,
Okay,
I'm writing
Mr.
things down.
Wilden.
I'm writing things down if I can
Okay,
get your answers
Mr. Wilden
before-
also stated that the area in Alpine Park goes for a distance, but he didn't know what the distance was. Is that the 570 feet? Is it limited to that 570 feet?
It's a lot of feet, honey. It's not a lot of feet.
He just stated that it's a long segment, it protects a long segment of the pipe. You know, and I'd asked, and I'm going to ask again this evening, was there any other area in Monroeville that this type of equipment was placed? And if so, where was it placed? Or was any other equipment placed anywhere along that 2-mile stretch? And I ask that because I'm going to read the middle of this easement. The lands of the grantor whereon said cathodic protection facilities are to be installed hereunder are situated in the Township of Monroeville, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as more fully described in deeds dated October 23rd, 1967, and January 24th, 2021. It then gives the volumes and the pages of those deeds. I want to know what occurred on and was entered into the deed book on January 24th of 2021.
Before or after?
Was that additional equipment? If so, where was it placed?
She wants to know before or after, what happened before and what happened after.
I'm not going to get any questions answered here tonight, and I realize that, but I'm going to keep my promise, as I said, and go door to door. I'm going to get with, try and get a hold of state and federal representatives to push this, because there is absolutely no type of plan here. And as I said, this pipe going so close in Regal Court, Penn Lear, all the way up Haymaker in this 2-mile stretch is frightening. And if you don't know what happens when there's a gas explosion, you know, I'm just going to briefly read you this article. Mayor, just let me read what happened when this gas line exploded in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And I know I have 5, I'm not going to take any more time. There was a pipeline explosion that killed 10 people at a campsite area. And when that pipe exploded, and I'll just cut to the chase here, Mayor. It says, the force of this explosion carved out a crater that authorities said measured 86 feet long, 46 feet wide, and 20 feet deep. Now, this gas line is, in some areas, going up Haymaker Road, 5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet from the homes of people. So with that, I'll leave you, and I'll be at the next meeting. Thank you.
There you
I
go.
have
I'll leave the floor.
one more, I'll be 1 minute.
No, we only allow one comment. No,
No.
we only allow one comment
It's about
per
Jet
person.
Jack.
You can come back to our next meeting. You'd be welcome to. Is there anyone else that would like to address council on any municipal item during this comment period?
Duquesne Light and Jet Jack.
We're going to,
Is
seeing none, sir, please, if you,
Is
please.
she the court reporter or the stenographer?
She's the bouncer, and she's gonna come back there and throw you out soon. No, she is our stenographer, though.
Stenographer?
Yes, yes, sir. So we do have a public comment period we're going to end right now. And we're moving over to our reports of our council members. And if I could just follow up with some of these questions that brought up during the comment period. Sir, I'll start with you. You mentioned about the Duquesne Light issue.
Yes.
That's controlled by the Public Utility Company.
Yeah, no one messes with that.
Public Utility Commission, PUC, and we have no control over what they cut and trim back, and that's an unfortunate thing. I understand you're upset, but a lot of people are about these things. We're not gonna go back and forth with questions and answers, actually, but I just wanted to give you that
Why don't
information.
you have control?
It's the state.
It's on Monroeville property.
We're not gonna go back and forth with questions and answers, but I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you.
I understand your
I'll be
concern,
the next
and
one.
we are,
Yep.
yes.
I got it in my pocket.
And then as far as the trees, then Mr. Wilking maybe help me out with this, as far as the buildings, this is something that would have to be done during the site plan
Next agenda,
approval.
Jet Jack, please.
Sir, we're not gonna keep doing this, please. I will have to ask you to leave if you're gonna keep disrupting it.
Sorry.
Thank you,
Please,
Mr.
thank
Mayor.
you.
Sorry. My first time. I'm sorry.
Any kind of foliage or trees to make a developer plant, we would have to hash that out during the site plan approval. There's really no way to go back and change that. There might be some things that to consider moving forward during the planning commission and during councilmatic decisions, but and those are good ideas that we can maybe add into the way we approach things. But as of now, we really can't go back on a developer and make them change things.
Oh, yes, I realize that.
And then getting over to some of the issues with the gas lines that we were discussing, there was a lot of confusion last month or last week with the pipeline at Alpine Village and the pipeline that Ms. Woodhull is bringing up that's on Haymaker. Those are not connected. Those are two separate pipelines. They are not connected whatsoever. Those are two separate pipelines. The pipeline on Haymaker Road, what you're questioning or what you're asking about, there has not been gas in that pipeline for 10 years. So that is an inactive pipe, and there's nothing going through it. It is old, you're absolutely right. It is definitely old. There's no plans to replace it at all because it is just an inactive pipeline. And the pipeline maintenance in general is always conducted in accordance with all the applicable state and federal regulations. And with those regulations, there are a lot of things that are security issues that are confidential as far as the regulations, as far as the manner that they conduct the maintenance on these pipelines. They can't give those things out from the companies. The question about the protection of the anode bed, it's not really necessarily a length of pipeline that it actually, a black and white as far as what it protects, but what they say is that the system is an integrated pipeline protection system, and a new anode bed is not measured in lineal feet of protection, but in an overall boost to the system. And Sunoco routinely monitors their system in compliance with the Part 195 regulations and look for ways to enhance its effectiveness.
You better get Aaron Brockovich.
Sir, please.
Sorry.
Please. And we're going to put out whatever information we can on the website, municipal website, but there is a public way to search for pipelines. It's the National Pipeline Mapping System, the NPMS. There's a public viewer aspect of it. So it's PV, public viewer, PV, npms.phmsa.dot.gov, because these things are regulated by the federal government. pvnpms.phmsa.dot.gov.
Thank you.
And there was a question about the monetary amounts, Mr. Little, Mr. Ratcher, as far as like additional monetary. Is that just if something else comes up during what they're doing?
No. That other valuable consideration, what that is, that's flowery language that lawyers used 100 years ago, and it still hasn't gone away. The concept is that they don't want one of the parties coming back and saying there's no consideration. So the way it's typically stated is the amount that's the actual consideration, and then they state for other good and valuable consideration. So in the event that the consideration that they're giving, namely the $5,000, that fails, both parties have agreed that there's other good and valuable consideration.
Very good. And then as far as the 195 requirements, the federal public communication requirements, I'd be happy to reach out to Sunoco, and if there are things that they need to do to get to those benchmarks and requirements, I would be happy to have them in one of our public meetings. That is perfectly fine, but we're not going to have a separate meeting for them. And hopefully that answers some of your questions. Despite what you think, I do care about the community. I do care about that pipeline, but certainly that one behind you, it is safe. There's nothing in it right now. You may already know this by contacting Sunoco. I believe you contacted them already. You may already have this information. You could have shared it with us whenever you first got up. But with that, I'm going to move over to our council members' reports. Mr. Hizzy, do you have anything this evening?
Yes, I'd like to thank council for giving my first word at light pole for Duquesne Light. It's really a dark area, and I'm sure the residents are really going to appreciate it. Second of all, we're going to have a Memorial Day parade back, first one since, 2 years now. It'll be on May 30th at 9 a.m. starting at Valley Honda. Hope everybody will come out and support the Post 82's parade, like we do every year. Also, I'd like to say, wish everybody a blessed Easter. With that, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Poach.
You're a nice
A minimum
guy.
to,
Thank you guys so much
so,
for.
to do that.
We're still,
Mr. Bender,
please. We're still,
we didn't interrupt you, okay?
we did give you your public comment
I'm sorry, I
period.
thought you adjourned. I'm sorry, so sorry.
We didn't adjourn yet. This is the last time I'm going to be
Yeah,
talking to you. The next time, we are going to escort you from the room. Our police chief is here. He will escort you from the council chambers. If you have, I understand your passion, but that is not an excuse to interrupt the meeting. It's not fair to everybody up here. It's not fair to everybody else that's patiently watching. So please, that is your last outburst. You will be escorted next time. Do you understand? Thank you. Mr. Poach, please.
Slightly off track for a moment. Again, it's great that we're having the Memorial Day Parade. That's great to hear. That's an improvement for that. Also, the Easter egg hunt. How did that go, Mr. Hizzy?
The Easter egg hunt went fantastic, other than we got a little wet, a little cold. Thanks for everybody that participated. Thanks for everybody who helped set up, especially the Easter Bunny, the unknown Easter Bunny.
I
come.
heard
It
from the
was
Easter
great.
Bunny, yes.
Parks and Rec, I know, really did a hell of a good job, so very appreciative.
That's the point I wanted to bring forward. Thank you, Joe. Move on, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Poach. Mr. Stevenson.
I have one item. I am council liaison to the Police Civil Service Board. We met last Tuesday. We are currently going over applications and qualifications for hiring more police officers. We're in the process. You'll be hearing more later about this and about how many we're going to hire and when that's going to happen and that kind of thing. So that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Wolfram.
Well, I'm going to say ditto to everything that everybody said up there, and I just want to wish everybody a happy Easter that's coming up. And again, still be careful out there. There's still things going on. We're not all the way out of this pandemic yet. So again, just be careful when you're with people and everything. And again, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adams.
Yes, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Easter, and next Sunday, everybody, all the Orthodox Christians, happy Easter also.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I got an email from a resident in the 6th Ward about the Monroeville Mall, Circle Road. I talked to the manager, and they was contacted. Monroeville Mall is aware of the potholes on Mall Circle Drive and are talking to pavers to address the potholes and getting them fixed. They tried to do some of it over winter, but it was just too bad and it'd pop out. I want to thank people for their emails. I would like to have your phone number, and I will respond to it, other than an email. My phone number is on the web, but I will give it to you anyways. That's Bob Williams, 412-780-7375. I'll answer your phone call. I'll come to your house. I'm here to serve the 6th Ward and Monroeville, and I appreciate your eyes and your concerns on the community. And I would ask God to bless the United States of America, Monroeville, and Ukraine. It's a tragedy what's going on over there, the things these people are doing to women and children, and my heart goes out to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Biondo.
Yes, happy Easter to everybody. My kids were at the Easter egg hunt. They loved it. They had a great time. They got to meet Mr. Hizzy over there. It was a great time. I also wanted to offer my condolences to the Castelli family. Armin Castelli passed. And we just want to let them know we're thinking about them.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Biondo.
And the
And I just wanted to,
Brandon Mark.
I just wanted to finish up my comments. I just wanted to, actually, a congratulatory or a little kudos to the Gateway High School theater department for their completion of the production this year, Drowsy Chaperone. Just really incredible what these young men and women can do, and they put on a great run. It was Larry Servi's last show in Monroeville.
Yes, it was.
A lot of successful shows, and actually Mr. Wielden's daughter was in it, actually, and did a great job. But these kids are something else. It's really incredible and really impressive what they do. And so kudos to everyone involved with the show. I'll echo my colleagues up here with a happy Easter and a happy Passover to our residents. And with that, I'll seek a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.